which is the best 360 camera to buy, which is the best one right now. I did a video on this topic at the start of the year, but since then, many new cameras have been released, and 2 in just the past few months. We're going to be looking at 6 cameras. All of these have good and bad points, and I've gone out and shot some video and photos side by side at the same time so we can see exactly the difference in quality, but I'm going to go through, obviously, all of the good and bad points of these 360 cameras so we can see which one is the best overall. Let's get into it now. If you are new to 360 cameras, then there are some things you need to consider. I'm going to take you through them now. First, you'll need to decide what you want to use your camera for. 360 cameras have, I would say, 2 or 3 primary uses. Firstly, as an action camera, vlogging camera, or to create virtual tours. If you're looking for a 360 action camera, then you'll want to focus on video quality, sensor size, stabilization, and how easy it is to edit your video on the fly, on mobile, and on desktop. And also how many of the unique effects that only 360 cameras are capable of is the camera capable of doing quickly and easily. If you want a 360 camera for shooting virtual tours, then you'll want to be focusing on photography features. Obviously, ideally, you'll want a camera with large sensors, the ability to shoot high-resolution images, and DNG RAW capability. You'll also want to ensure that the workflow is as simple and easy as possible. But we're going to go through each of the cameras now and look at more footage and photos and details and specs and basically what I think about the cameras. So let's start off with the newest 360 camera on the block, the Insta360 X3. The Insta360 X3 is the 3rd generation of Insta360's all-in-one action camera lineup. So the positive aspects of this camera, the reasons to buy this camera, include the 2 half-inch sensors, which allow the camera to capture more light and more detail than most other 360 action cameras, which feature sensors about half the size of this. The ability to shoot not only 5.7K 360 video, but also 4K standard flat video using one of each of these 2 lenses, which makes the Insta360 X3 a fairly decent 2-in-1 camera, not only a 360 camera, but also a standard action camera too. The ability to shoot 72 megapixel photos, which is larger than any other 360 camera out right now. The amazing stabilization, which also was featured in the other versions of this camera, the previous versions, but again retains the ability to shoot amazing, almost impossible action shots, which would not be possible with non-360 cameras. The X3 is also completely waterproof without the need for any case, so you can take it 10 meters underwater and it will be fine. And I have tested this out quite a lot and it survived when I used it, so hopefully it will survive for you too. So those half-inch sensors in the X3 is definitely the main hardware upgrade, which sets this camera apart from its competitors, and also the ability to create these amazing effects, which really is only possible with Insta360 cameras. The app is probably one of the main selling points of any camera from this company. Very easy to follow tutorials. You just put all of the clips in and the app will automatically create those for you. Also, just the ability to edit your videos really easily and quickly, reframing them in the app and the free desktop software makes the Insta360 probably the most popular range of 360 cameras ever. Now, the downside is that the lenses in this camera are extremely vulnerable. You cannot replace them. If you scratch them, then you need to get it sent away, and it's very expensive and takes a long time. Next up is another camera from the same company. It's the Insta360 1-inch 360 edition. This is more of a premium camera. This will not be for everyone because it is significantly more expensive. I think this is one of the most expensive cameras on this list, just under $1,000 or £1,000, which is basically the same thing these days anyway. The reasons to buy this camera include the dual 1-inch sensors, which is 4 times as large as most other action camera sensors. The ability to shoot 6K 360 video at 30 frames per second, which is the highest resolution of any camera on this list. The excellent low light performance, again, thanks to those larger sensors. If you want to shoot in low light and retain any decent quality, this is pretty much the only camera that's able to do that. You can shoot professional quality 360 photos thanks to the HDR mode, the pure shot mode, and the ability to shoot DNG RAW 360 photos, again with the 1-inch sensors. You can definitely create high quality virtual tours with this camera. And as well as all of this, the camera still retains Insta360's excellent stabilization and all of the effects in the app. If you wanted to level up your content creation, 360 content creation, if you wanted to get semi-pro, semi-professional, or indeed if you wanted to create virtual tours and use it professionally, this would be the camera to get. This is definitely a step above the other cheaper cameras, but you can get truly amazing quality with this camera, particularly in those difficult lighting conditions. The downside is that it is definitely not an action camera. It is heavy, it is thick, it is large, it has a case which you have to combine all of the individual pieces together. You can use it for moving video and the stabilization will work fine. You can run with it, walk with it, maybe put it on a bike and not do any flips. But apart from that, you should not be using it as an action camera. Next up is the Ricoh Theta X. This is again another new 360 camera released this year, and it's the latest one from Ricoh, which was actually the first company to create a consumer 360 camera. If you were looking for a 360 camera for virtual tours, then this is one that you should consider. This is something more of a virtual tour camera rather than an action camera. The Theta X can shoot 11K 360 videos, which is one of the largest resolutions of any camera on this list. The larger the resolution, the more sharpness and the more detail you can capture in your 360 images, so definitely the higher the better. The camera also features half-inch sensors, which again is twice the size of most other 360 cameras. The camera features an auto HDR mode, which really boosts the quality of your 360 images, allowing you to create high-quality images without the need for any editing. You can literally go out, shoot with the camera. It's as easy as using your iPhone or any phone. You don't need to do any editing to get high-quality 360 images. And finally, plugins which expand the functionality of this camera. There are many plugins available from Ricoh and from people just out there creating plugins for the camera, and that is expanding the capability each time someone creates a new one. So in the past, virtual tours were quite difficult to shoot. You needed a DSLR, a kind of very many different types of equipment, and a long time to edit. Now as technology has advanced, we can create reasonably high quality virtual tours with these all-in-one 360 cameras. And the Theta X has definitely been designed with virtual tours in mind. It's definitely been designed for people who need to create high quality virtual tours quickly without any editing. If you were working in real estate or construction, or you wanted to start a virtual tour business and you wanted something that could quickly, rapidly create high quality virtual tours, then this will be something definitely to consider. The Theta X can also shoot 5.7K 360 video. However, this is not really a camera I would recommend for video. It's very basic. The app doesn't really have anything in terms of an editor or any way to utilize this 360 video, so it really is an afterthought. Next up is the Insta360 One RS. Now, this is probably the most innovative camera on this list. As you can see here, it is a modular camera. It comes with two different lenses in the box. One is a 360 lens and the other is a 4K boost lens, which is kind of like a GoPro, like a normal GoPro Hero camera. You can switch out these lenses by literally taking the camera apart, which is basically the main reason you would get this camera. It's definitely a two-in-one camera, more than any that I've ever seen. You can shoot 5.7K 360 video with the 360 lens, 4K video at 60 frames per second with the standard 4K boost lens. You can also shoot 6K widescreen video, which looks very cinematic. The camera features the same excellent stabilization as the other Insta360 cameras. It also is completely waterproof up to 10 meters and is compatible with all of those special effects and AI editors in the Insta360 app. So if you can't decide whether you want a 360 camera or a normal action camera, this is literally both of those in one package. The 4K boost lens probably won't match up to the latest GoPro Hero 11, but it's not far off. 4K at 60 frames per second with a half-inch sensor. It creates decently high-quality standard video, and I think unless you are really into getting cinematic and filmmaking, this will be good enough for your vacations, for Instagram, for TikTok and Facebook. The 360 lens features smaller sensors and lower quality than the other Insta360 cameras, but it's not that far off, especially if you are mostly shooting in daylight conditions. The One RS 360 mode will still match up to pretty much all other 360 cameras that are out right now. This camera also has an optional 1-inch sensor as well, a 1-inch lens, which you can buy separately. It is quite expensive, but again, if you wanted to really boost the quality of your standard action camera videos, then this 1-inch sensor does actually, I think, in my opinion, beat out a GoPro Hero 11. A 1-inch sensor is pretty large for an action camera, and you can get some really high quality footage from it. Okay, on to the next camera, the GoPro Max. This is a fairly old 360 camera now. I think it's 2.5, nearly 3 years old, but when this camera came out, it was way ahead of its time. The GoPro Max still shoots excellent quality 360 video of 5.7K, featuring GoPro's excellent color technology, which at the time really put it quite far ahead of the competition. Also, the high quality design of the camera itself. I think this is one of the best designed 360 cameras, featuring a large touch screen, 4 microphones, a waterproof design, and a rugged body. The Max is also another 2-in-1 camera. You can use one of the lenses on the Max to shoot standard non-360 video at 1440p at a maximum frame rate of 60 frames per second, which is pretty decent. However, compared to some of the other cameras we've talked about, the single lens video is lower resolution. The GoPro Max also features amazing stabilization, which can easily match up to Insta360. And you can create many of the same effects, including the invisible selfie stick effect. You can create that with the GoPro Max as well. Where GoPro really falls behind is the app and the software. It doesn't have these same AI features or special effects, or as much as an advanced video editor as the Insta360 app. GoPro really kind of doesn't update, doesn't add new effects, and the same amount of effort has not gone into the app to really get the most out of the 360 camera. Finally, the Ricoh Theta Z1. And again, this is a camera that's more than a few years old now, I believe 2.5, 3 years old. However, this became probably the most popular 360 camera for virtual tours during the pandemic, when the kind of need for it really kicked off. The reasons to buy this camera include the dual 1-inch sensors. This is another virtual tour camera featuring 1-inch sensors. The camera also features variable aperture, meaning you can change the aperture, which is only really possible in usually DSLR or that kind of camera. This is the only 360 camera I know of in which you can change the aperture. The Theta Z1 can also shoot DNG RAW images, which really enables you to get the most out of your 360 photos if you go into Lightroom and edit them. You can really get some amazing quality photos with this camera. I think this is actually still remains the 360 camera which shoots the highest quality 360 photos, compared to any of the other ones, even the newer cameras. Mostly because Ricoh have a long history of creating cameras and their technology is second to none. The downsides with this camera is the difficult to use design. It doesn't feature a touch screen. You really need to connect to the app to change the settings easily and to know really what's going on. So this is another camera which you would really only get for shooting virtual tours. The resolution of the camera is limited to just over 20 megapixels, which again is a letdown compared to the other Ricoh camera. The Theta X features much higher resolution images, but the sensor is smaller, and so it is a bit of give and take. So those are the 6 cameras which I would recommend now if you were going to consider getting one. So probably you want to know which one is the best. So like I said, I split between 2, which is best for action cameras, vlogging, and which is best for virtual tours. For action cameras, for vlogging, for general consumer use, the best is the Insta360 X3. It's the latest camera. It features the newest technology. It's an all-in-one device. Some new video modes which are not included in other cameras. The half-inch sensors boosting the quality, especially in low light scenarios. Features HDR video mode. It's waterproof. There's a new design. It features a large touch screen. It's also a 2-in-1 camera, 4K normal video and 5.7K 360 video. For me, it represents definitely the best value. And yeah, it's just a great creative tool for not only 360 video, but for normal video as well. And the ability to shoot all of those in one device, I think, makes that the best choice. For virtual tours, I would go for the Ricoh Theta X. It's a little bit cheaper than the alternatives, and it's the easiest to use. It features the large touch screen. It features an auto HDR mode, which is super easy to use, and 11K resolution images, which are really important for getting the maximum quality out of your virtual tours. The other cameras are still worth buying. There is no bad camera on this list. There are some bad ones, but I've not included them here because I just don't want to confuse you. You've listened to what I've said. Like I said, if you wanted to up the game, if you wanted to shoot semi-professional 360 video, then obviously the 1-inch edition would be more worth your time. And if you weren't sure about whether you wanted a 360 camera or an action camera, the One RS is both of those things and definitely costs less than buying them individually. So again, that is actually pretty good value as well. So that's it, guys. I hope you found that useful. I do these once or twice a year, so I won't be doing another one until more cameras come out. This should be relevant for at least the next 6 months or so. I can't see any other camera being released. If there are, then I will update this. Yeah, that's it guys. Stay tuned, subscribe, because I'm going to be bringing you more content with all of these cameras, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.